is approval of the agenda.
Motion, please. Mr. Morris. Second, Dr. Davis. Any opposition? Motion carried. Next item, please.
Next item is approval of the minutes from December 16th, 2020.
So moved.
Mr. Davis, second. By Mr. Castillo. Any opposed? With no opposition, motion carried. Next item, please.
Next item is a report by the State Superintendent of Education.
Dr. Brumley.
Yes, ma'am. So a few items just to share with the board at this point. First is just offering thanks to you as board members, as well as the Board of Regents for being supportive of our new endeavor that is called Fast Forward. It certainly does not take the place of anything that currently exists with graduation pathways, but I think it's additional opportunities, and I do believe that it has the opportunity over time to shift the landscape in a positive way and further personalize the high school experience for many of our students. And so I appreciate you all and your support that you have given that, and we are really excited about the level of interest that we have received from systems and workforce community, as well as higher ed, and look forward to seeing what type of original ideas we receive out of this opportunity. So that is underway, and I'm thankful for your support in that endeavor. Along those same lines, just an announcement, our annual Jumpstart Convention is next Tuesday and Wednesday. This will be a virtual event this year, just simply due to the pandemic. The theme of this year's Jumpstart Convention is Inspire, Innovate, and Impact. And we're excited to be holding this convention, and we know that so many of our educators enjoy being a part of this convention, and so we're happy that we can be able to offer that again for them this year. Next week is National School Choice Week in our country, and so we just appreciate the fact that school choice can expand opportunities for many of our students, and so it can also give families a choice in which they're able to make, giving them a choice enables them to be sure that they get the education that they want for their child and for their family, and so we just want to recognize National School Choice Week. Also, finally, as Americans, we've all been on our heels a little bit recently and have some levels of anxiety about things that we have seen or are nervous about what could come. But I just hope that we can all appreciate educators across our state that while they were processing personally so many of their emotions with what happened a few weeks back at our Capitol, that they also gave our kids a space to have conversations and talk about that in classrooms and in a balanced way. And frankly, I'm just really proud of our educators in the way that they have handled that and some of the things that I have heard. So beyond that, I hope as we make a transition in our federal government, as we transition from one president to the next, that as we go through these next 2 days, we are, by the end of this week, really proud as Americans of how we've handled this over the next few days and have seen a peaceful transfer of power. And so as a praying person, that will be my prayer. And I'm hopeful that we can have a peaceful situation, and I'm hopeful too that our educators across the state find the appropriate ways to discuss this with their students and allow students to discuss this with their peers and with their teachers. So that's the conclusion of my comments, Mr. President.
Thank you, Superintendent Bromley. Very well said. Thank you for that and leading our state. Any comments from a board member? Anyone? Yes, Mr. Morris, please.
Yeah, Superintendent Brumley, we obviously find ourselves in an unprecedented situation now. And as we look forward, we heard today that there will be in excess of $1 billion in federal funding headed our way. And there's potentially, a CARES 3.0, who knows. But I'm just wondering, what, if anything, we can do to position ourselves in a way so that 5 years from now, we'll know we got the best ROI on our investment. Just let me ask you to give that some thought, and maybe next board meeting we could talk about it. But I just want to put that out there and get that conversation going.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. Yes, Mr. Castillo.
Mr. Superintendent and Madam President, the meeting last month with the Board of Regents, I just thought was fantastic. Dr. Brumley, you gave a great presentation. You represented us well. It also sparked a lot of conversation in terms of what more we can do to work together with higher education. And so we've had some really great discussions about early childhood education. We talked about K-12. We had the conversation about post-secondary education. Is there more that we, of course the answer is yes, but what more should we be doing to further align ourselves with the entire spectrum from birth to college? One thought was we have a meeting twice a year for about an hour with the Board of Regents, and to me that always leaves me wanting more because it's such a rich conversation, and I think that we could do more. And I don't know if there's something we could do to have that deeper conversation as boards. I know that you and the commissioner have a great working relationship, but because of all that success that comes from those meetings, it does beg for more work, conversation, collaboration around those three spaces, early childhood, K-12, and higher education, because we have this pipeline that Commissioner Kim Hunter-Reid always talks about it being a leaky pipeline, and how do we improve upon that? And we had that meeting in December, and it's quite possible that we might not have another conversation about that again until the summer, and I'm wondering if there's something more that we could be doing along the way. Any thoughts about that, Dr. Brumley?
Yeah, let's certainly spend some time together and further discuss what that might look like. For what it's worth, Dr. Kim Hunter-Reid and I do have a set meeting monthly, and our staff participate in that as appropriate. And so, we talked about fast forward, but that is not the only item that we're working towards or exploring. And so maybe it's just bringing in BESE and regents around some of those other areas that we're discussing. But certainly you and I can have some follow-up conversation around this.
Be happy to. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Castillo. Yes, Ms. Boche?
Yes, and piggybacking on what Mr. Morris was saying, with the $1 billion that's coming in, we do know that at least 90% is a flow through to the districts. But 10% of that is $100 million, which is really under the purview of this board as to what initiatives we're looking at. And I would like to make that a major topic for discussion on our upcoming retreat, and looking at both for the long term and the short term. So if we're looking at that significant influx of monies over the next 2 years, what can we do, as Mr. Morris was talking about, to leverage those funds as a jumping off point for the next several years, as well as meeting some immediate needs? And I realize everybody's going to have maybe a different sense of what we should do, but if the department could come and we could talk about some of these initiatives and what we're looking at, because $100 million is a significant sum of money under our direction for the next 2 years.
Thank you, Ms. Boche. Anyone else? Great, thank you. Next item, please.
Next item is report from members of BESE members for their appointments to statutory and legislative task forces.
Anyone has a report? Yes, Dr. Davis.
I'd just like to make the board aware that House Concurrent Resolution 2 that deals with the discovering the kind of true operational cost of buses that are owned by owner-operators has been meeting consistently throughout the fall and this January, and we will have to turn our report into the legislature in February, so it will not be delivered to BESE until our March meeting, but I just wanted to make you aware that when it goes out to the legislature, I'll make sure that all the members of the board get a copy of it.
Perfect. Thank you for that update. I've got that. Yes, Ms. Ellis.
Yes, I wanted to just a quick report on the mentor work group. We've discussed that there will be some deliverables by March. One of the interesting things that we've been able to do is really let everybody put all the issues on the table and just talk about it. There was nothing left undiscussed, and just working through that. The issues that keep coming up were recruitment, teachers, and, you know, what teachers, the who, the how, and how do we know that they're ready to mentor, and then just assessment concerns, and how do we really narrow that down. We've talked about crosswalk documents so that we can justify what we're seeing and what would justify someone having other credentials and bringing that to the table. And the bottom line is, what does a mentor know and need to know to do their job well? So there's a lot of really good work coming out of that work group, and I think in March, we're going to see some really good deliverables and things that many of our educators will be very, you know, pleased with. So that's it.
Yes, Mr., thank you, I'm sorry, thank you, Ms. Ellis. Mr. Rock?
Just like to report that just recently, President Holloway appointed me to the JAG Board of Directors. I've had communications with them, and the first meeting is scheduled soon. I don't remember the exact date right now, but anyway, the meeting is coming, and I'm looking forward to representing BESE on the JAG Board of Directors for the state.
Thank you, Mr. Rock, and I was getting ready to announce that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Along with Mr. Rock's appointment, I also appointed Mr. Castillo, replacing Mr. Tony Davis at the Louisiana School of Math, Science, and the Arts. He will be on their board. So
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you so much for that, you, Mr. Rock. Yes, Ms.
I have a correction. It's, my committee is HCR 20, not 2, so let the minutes reflect that.
That's okay,
Thank
but
you.
I've noted what you were talking about. Thank you for that correction. Anyone else? Okay, great, thank you. Next item, please.
Next item is Board Committee Reports, Academic Goals and Instructional Improvement Committee. Mr. Morris.
On behalf of the Academic Goals and Instructional Improvement Committee, I move to approve motions 1 through 11, noting that motion 10 is an emergency rule and motion 11 is a notice of intent.
Second, please. Anyone? Mr. Castillo? Thank you. Any objection? Motion carried. Next item, please.
Next item, Administration and Finance Committee. Mr. Davis.
On behalf of the Administration and Finance Committee, I move to approve motions 1 through 18.
Second.
Mr. Rock.
Mr. Rock? Thank you. Any objection?
Recusals.
Recusals?
Recused on motions 10 and 13.
Ms. Foche. Dr. Davis?
Recuse on motion 8.
Thank you. Dr. Brophy?
Recuse on motions 10, 13, and 14, please.
Thank you. Yes, Ms. Ellis?
Recusal on motion 10 and motion 13.
Anyone else? Any objections? With no objections, motion carried. Next item, please.
Next item, Educator Effectiveness Committee. Mr. Rock.
On behalf of the Educator Effectiveness Committee, I move to approve motions 1 and 2.
Thank you. Second, please, Dr. Davis. Any comments? Any recusal? No objection, motion carried. Next item, please.
School Innovation and Turnaround Committee. Mr. Castile.
On behalf of the School Innovation and Turnaround Committee, I move to approve motions 1 through 4, noting that motion 4 is a notice of intent.
Thank you. Any, yes, Ms. Kira Orange-Jones? I'm sorry, second.
Yes.
Any comments, recusals, objections? Having none, motion carried. And before we call closure to this meeting, we have a special presentation, something that we're really not looking forward to, but it's bittersweet. Mr. Tony Davis, you're so special to us and to our board. We have a presentation that's coming forth
So
to
if
you
Ms. Jones.
by,
Yeah. Sorry.
yep, oh, that's okay.
And
By-
if you go down to the floor, Mr. Davis.
by Superintendent Brumley and Ms. Kira Orange-Jones. Tony, if you don't mind meeting them at the...
Okay, Tony, so Dr. Brumley and I just spoke, and we decided we don't want to do this. Okay, so here we are. Resolution. Mr. Tony Davis was elected, whereas Mr. Tony Davis was elected to the Louisiana State Board of Elementary and Secondary Education and has served since 2016 honorably and professionally as a board member with leadership and vision, and whereas Mr. Davis has dutifully served as chair of the Administration and Finance Committee, the Minimum Foundation Task Force, the Superintendent Evaluation Work Group, and the 8G Work Group, has been a member of the Early Childhood Care and Education Commission, vice president of the board, and promotes progressive partnerships between education and industry. And whereas Mr. Davis was recently chosen as an executive with the National Association of Manufacturers and has served as the Senior Director of the Workforce Initiatives for the Manufacturing Institute, Executive Director of the Natchitoches Community Alliance, Board Member for the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry, Member of State and Regional Chamber of Commerce Leadership Boards, Vice Chair of the Board for Louisiana School for Math, Science, and the Arts, and serves on the advisory councils for 2 institutions of higher education. And whereas Mr. Davis has obtained distinguished achievements and success, graduating from Northwestern State University with a BS in Business Administration, and therefore continuing his passion for knowledge and a better world. And whereas Mr. Davis is committed to family, to youth, to civic duty, beyond all else, has exemplified by his volunteerism to the Norwella Council of Boy Scouts and the Natchitoches Parish Children and Youth Planning Council. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education convened at its January 2021 meeting in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and does hereby express its sincere appreciation and gratitude to Mr. Tony Davis for years of dedicated public service and commitment in the aforementioned areas, and be it further resolved that the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education does hereby convey upon Mr. Davis its best wishes as he continues in service and fulfillment to family, to friends, and to community.
Unless he speaks.
It wasn't good.
We can face this and he's. At this time, Tony, if you don't mind, to face us, and I'll allow the board members to say a few words to you. Thank you, Kira. Thank you, Dr. Bromley. Appreciate that. That was a beautiful resolution. Thank you, Shan, and Nikki for that resolution. Very well said. Appreciate that. Does anyone want to go first? We're going to go in order. Yes, Mr. Castillo?
I'll go. I want you to know that as Tony got ready to stand up and leave and walk to go up front, I told Tony, you better not cry. Because I know how sad we all feel that you're leaving. I've only gotten to know you for about a year now, and I'm just so impressed with you. You're smart, articulate, you care about people, you catch on to things really quickly. You are going to be missed in this state on this board because you are a role model for students all across this country and all across America. What makes me feel good about your departure is that I know that you're going to do even more across the country, and we will all have the high honor of saying that we knew Tony Davis way back when.
Mr. Rock?
Tony, I will remember a number of things about you. First of all,
This is not a roast.
Same age with my son, graduated from high school together. That's the first thing. They graduated from high school. But what I like about you more than anything is that you will listen. We've had some tough discussions. You coming from a business perspective, I came from an education perspective. But after due time, when you would really see that, you were willing to change your mind. And that speaks well for you. I wish you well. I'm proud of you because you're from Natchitoches. Hate that we're losing you in Natchitoches Parish, but just as Preston said, you will represent us well on the national level. Good luck, and God bless you.
Thank you. Anyone aside? Okay. Yes, Dr. Davis?
I'd just like to say thank you that as a new board member, sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And so I appreciate your willingness to listen to new board members, to allow us to express opinions, and then to tell us kind of when we were missing things. Just because of a lack of experience or knowledge, that you were able to give us that information in a way that still made us feel valued and like our input mattered. And so I really appreciate that as a new member of the board. Thank you so much.
Yes, Ms. Foche.
And I just want to add, Tony, I admire your professionalism, your intellect. I love the spirited discussions that we've had. And I know that you're going to represent Louisiana well, do extremely well on a national level. And I think Mr. Castile said it so eloquently. We're going to be looking for wonderful things that you're going to be doing in the future. And we're very happy that you came our way here. And it was for the betterment of the students of Louisiana. So thank you for everything you've done here.
Anyone else? Yes, Ms. Jones? Kira?
Okay, so I got to say the formal thing, but now I have to say the informal thing. Look, I think Indiana is so lucky to have such a thoughtful, committed leader join its ranks, and I agree with Mr. Castile that we look forward to hearing all of the things that you will go on to do. I also want to share just how much of a pleasure it's been to work with you personally. I think everything that you contribute to is better because of your leadership. I think you are someone that approaches projects with a great deal of integrity, with excellence, and with sincere commitment. And, you know, having been on the board now for over a decade, I've seen many board members transition for many reasons. And I will just share, I think, that the loss of your leadership on this board will be felt because you've had such an enormous impact. And I'll just also share personally, you know, kids need role models, but sometimes board members need role models too. We all as adults need role models. And you'll recall, Tony, that when you did share with me that you were leaving, after I did shed a tear or two, I called you and I said, even though I'm pretty sure you may be younger than me, I said, will you mentor me? Will you continue to mentor me? Can I call you from time to time so that I can actually benefit from your thinking, your strategic thinking, and your deep sort of pragmatic approach to problem solving? So know that I will be calling you and know that you've had such a significant impact on this board that will be felt for some time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Dr. Brumley?
Yeah, thank you. So with Tony around, I was never the smartest Northwestern demon in the room. Tony had that covered. He is just so incredibly smart, if you guys haven't picked up on that. But, you know, Tony's leadership, while many of you have simply seen it here in Baton Rouge, I've seen it firsthand in Northwest Louisiana in the way that you engage people and engage system leaders and educators and the business community. And so for that, I say thank you. I know that someone is going to have to step up in Northwest Louisiana to fill that void with you leaving. The other thing I think about is just how you represent so much of what is possible and good in educational policy, because you're not an extremist. to one way or the other. You realize that the solutions are often in the middle, and you have to listen to both sides, and that's how you push policy forward. So for that, I thank you, and I certainly we'll miss you being here. We'll miss your friendship, but also, like Kira, know that I'll still be calling on you.
Thank you, Dr. Brumley. Anyone else? Shannon, yes.
I just want you to know how much I appreciate you. In 2016, we had a major overhaul of our membership. We had 8 new members, and that means you have to do committee assignments again. And boy, you just fell right into that committee, administration and finance, and we never looked back. And it takes years to understand 8G. And you just fell right into that. I mean, I think you know more than I do about it. And you really are going to be missed. When you called me to tell me you were leaving, my first response was, well, I'm very disappointed in you. You said, well, I hate that. I said, well, I'm happy for you, but I'm disappointed for me. So you very much will be missed. And there's going to be big shoes to fill with the MFP Task Force, Administration and Finance, and the AG work group especially. Thank you so much.
Anyone else? I have a few words. I'm sorry, Ashley.
Well,
Ms.
she
Ellis.
mentioned 8G, and I just had to say, I learned so much after many board meetings about 8G or any of the other, task force or, financials. And I've always enjoyed our conversations. I think we always tried to solve the problems of the world after a BESE meeting, and we thought we did many times. We had solved it all. So I've enjoyed our conversations, and certainly you will be missed. And thank you for mentoring me through this first year. I've really appreciated it. And good luck to you, and best wishes for you and your family.
Thank you. Anyone else? I have a few words, Tony. John Maxwell stated this, and it's for you. You are a leader who knows the way. You go the way and you show the way. And I'm so grateful, thankful for those attributes, because I'm about to cry. Because you helped me know the way, go the way, and to see the way. And I am thankful. I will miss you. You were such a great part of our leadership team that worked hard during this COVID time, and so thankful that you were with us, and praying many blessings upon you and your family in your next journey, which I know will be amazing, tremendously blessed. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
So if I could just say,
I did too.
I don't know what to say. I'll say thank you. It's overly simplistic, but it's the most appropriate thing I can say. Thank you all. I've learned so much from each of you, your diverse perspectives, your backgrounds. Take a little bit of each of you and add it to what I know. I thought that a little bit to you. It sounds like I may have a little bit, but I can tell you that I'm the richer from the partnership. And I'm excited about what I'll bring to the next level, but I bring a lot of this there. My heart is here. We have important work. We do it every day, and you will continue to do that. And I pray for you. I continue to pray for our state. And I wish you the absolute best working together for the betterment of every student in this state. And thank you again.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you.
That concludes the agenda.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
You know, like around and